Just like numerous other specialties in software, there are open source artificial intelligence projects aiming to develop AI systems of various kinds. Perhaps we need to ask ourselves, where is this leading? It'll be ironic if making software free, we are enabling machine revolution. Is this so far-fetched? Have there not been predictions about AI that have not come to pass for forever? Well, just look at all the recent progress from the software and hardware areas, but also from our understanding of how the brain works. Look at how many aspects of our lives are already being decided by computer. Machines are already being used in business intelligence systems to help people make decisions. How long before humans are simply removed? Finally, should we consider regulation to limit computer technology? Would such a concept even work given the fractured legal environment of the world? And if we cannot stop this progress, what does this mean for us? Is it like the Industrial Revolution where there is social change, or will it endanger us as a species? Or do you consider this as simply alarmist, that we are decades away from needing to have such concerns? In 2000, I thought about the previous 20 years and how far we had come with computing since the early 1980s. I thought about what we knew about our ability to predict the future in terms of technology. Now, obviously, you can't actually see the future, but just as climatologists can tell you statistical things about the climate without being able to tell you whether it will rain next Tuesday, there are statistical things we can say about the rate of technological development purely on a historical basis. We tend to overestimate the progress we can make in the short term, while underestimating the progress we can make in the long term. So I thought about what this means in terms of the growth of computing power, networking bandwidth, and understanding the human brain. In 2000, there was some good progress on the understanding of the mechanisms of the brain. Unlike with computing, the real work on the brain was just starting, but it was on a growth curve. So I made a pretty rough estimation of when we would cross the line in terms of thinking machines. The probability of reaching it in 100 years, I judged, was virtually certain given the exponential rate of progress. The probability of reaching it within 50 years was almost certain. In 1981, at the age of 11, I got my first computer. It had 1K of RAM, and I had to use a reasonable portion of that for screen display. We had gone from 1K machines in 1980 to machines with something like 64 megabytes in 2000, and there was still no sign of leveling off. The thing about exponential curves is that the actual progress doesn't look very great for most of the time. If we know that the doubling time is 18 months, we could project that we would be halfway to intelligent machines only 18 months before the actual breakthrough. We would be quarter of the way only 3 years before the breakthrough. This is the curve computing has actually followed. Given the rate of development over the preceding 20 years, I figured that it was virtually certain that we would reach machine intelligence in 50 years. Okay, so how about 20 years? Now it's getting a little less certain, perhaps 50-50. We were, after all, on the front edge of the curve on the brain investigation in 2000. What about 10 years, which would have been a breakthrough in about 2010? I felt this was getting into the region of overestimating progress in the short term. There just would be not enough time even with an exponential curve. I concluded that there was a fair chance of getting there by 2020 and almost certainty of getting there by 2050. Now we see Google cars, Microsoft translators, high-frequency trading, business intelligence systems, facial recognition, and real-time visual tracking. I think we are roughly a quarter of the way there. I feel like we are. And that puts us, the data machine intelligence, closer to 2045. In fact, I think my 2020 estimate is still in the ballpark. This isn't precognition or anything, it's just trying to work out based on the evidence. I ran this through all before even hearing about the Bray-Kurzweil and the singularity, but it seems that we are following the curve as anticipated, both in the field of computing and software and our understanding of the brain. My reasoning appears to be identical to his, only he has done far more work on it. My idea was a little more than a back-of-the-envelope calculation based on summary data I had to hand. The irony here is that we, in the free software movement, what happens when software becomes sentient? Does freedom mean freedom for these machines? What was perhaps left best to science fiction writers and philosophers may very well become the practical question in the not too distant future.